Okay, folks, we're going to get quickly into some video clips I'm going to show you, but I want to stress what you are going to see is evidence of the fact that there is a war on normal biblical Christian love, relationships between men and women, a war on children, on the family. There is a war, and it's not just at the local level, at the highest levels of the judicial system here in America, and maybe in the country which you're in. You'll see examples of how to identify this at the judicial level, in the educational system, and also in lawmakers. There are people who have infiltrated seats of power who are purveying, who are promoting philosophies that are against our Christian love, family, relationships, and we need to vote these people out of office. We need to vote them off the judicial bench. We need to vote them off of the school board, out of the educational systems. So here it comes. Take a look at these clips and see what I'm talking about.
A male was in our locker room when volleyball girls were trying to get changed. After I asked him to leave, he didn't, and later looked over at girls with their shirts off, and it made many people uncomfortable and feel violated. I left as soon as I could in a panic.
A lot of us were not comfortable with that situation, and it's happened before, and so we want just to be changed, really.
In a locker room, it's made specifically for girls, and so having a male with a penis in there, it just felt wrong.
When you tried to talk to your school officials about what happened, what did they say?
When I tried to talk to them, they just shut me down and said it was a law, there was nothing they could do, and that I should go somewhere else if I feel uncomfortable.
Officials say Kroger limited partnership engaged in religious discrimination when it ultimately fired employees for refusing to wear an apron with the company's symbol because they believe it represented support for the LGBTQ plus community.
Okay, so Kroger had to pay $180,000 to workers who were fired after they wouldn't wear the LGBTQ plus pride symbol. I tell you, these alphabet stuff. So basically, these two employees, because of their faith, they did not want to wear something with symbols that indicate that they support lesbianism. I think the Q is queer. I think the B is bisexual. The T is trans. The list of alphabets is long. They didn't want to support the alphabet ABC, elemental P stuff. They believed in biblical, a man with a woman is the relationship, romantic relationship, marriage between a man and woman. That's what us who really believe the Bible supports. So anyway, these workers, they got fired because they wouldn't wear the gear with symbols displaying their, well, they didn't support LGBTQ plus pride, and they didn't want to wear the symbols. So Kroger fired them. It appears that there was a, I don't know, maybe pretty lengthy battle for these employees to be compensated. So, I mean, it's really a shame that now these major corporations are trying to force people to accept all of this gender stuff that is contrary to our Christian faith. And if they don't accept it, they're fired. Now, again, I'm going to say, when you vote in these politicians and lawmakers, you support people who put in these leaders in our land who either support the stuff or they're so scared and cowardly they don't have the backbone to stand up and say, no, we're not going to redefine our culture to the point of saying a man is whatever you say it is, a woman is whatever you say it is. That is a destruction to America, to push these redefinition of basically what a woman is, what a man is.
I think those decisions are made between the woman, her family, her doctor, and her faith.
All right. Just some quick commentary about this Val Demings, this black politician, Val Demings. She's a prime example of what you will see 100% or close to 100% of the time. These woke, radical feminists, ultra liberal people and their philosophy, their speech, what they say when they refer to decisions, family decisions regarding unborn children, and maybe even other decisions. Listen closely. They always, or close to always, exclude reference to the father being involved in critical decisions. No, I don't believe in killing the unborn, but I'm just dealing with one aspect of this radical woke speak that Val Demings and many others like her, people in leadership in this country, who they are submitting and spewing poison. And this has been going on for decades. See, in my lifetime and in Val's lifetime, the statistics show that the black family and marriage in the black community has been stronger, so much stronger than it is now. But it's only or primarily due to this radical, these new philosophies, these liberal, ultra radical philosophies that have caused a breakdown in the black community and other communities, but particularly the black community has suffered as much or more than any other community at the hands of these woke, liberal, feminist, whatever term you want to do, policies that have broken down the respect for marriage, for fatherhood. So listen real closely when people like her speak, how they exclude the father. And it's disgusting, especially disgusting for a black politician who ought to know better, who ought to know that when you exclude and teach people to exclude the black man from decisions about his children, what kind of vile, foul, I'm trying to, I'm trying to keep this, I'm trying to keep myself together here because this just disgusts me how black politicians who ought to know better. It's disgusting with other politicians, but black people who hurt our own community with this vileness, this vile philosophy. Well, let me go on to the next video because I'm stirred up about what these black politicians have done for years and decades, have sold out their own people by this rhetoric, this philosophy to exclude the black father. And then they'll complain about, the ills of fatherlessness, but yet they're not promoting black fatherhood. Uh, just and they may not even, maybe she's not even conscious that she has, dialed into the whole the whole religion of men aren't important, black fathers aren't important. But just listen to what she's saying and parroting or repeating what these woke feminists are saying, and you can see she talks about a woman's a woman's doctor being involved, her family being involved in the decision about the child. No mention of a man or father, we know these women aren't conceiving and a child coming to being through immaculate conception. There's a father involved. And they don't even say, well, they don't even, which wouldn't be so great, but they don't even say, well, and if she's married, her husband should be involved. They don't even give that exception. That's how woke, that's how radical these people are. And when you teach this stuff year after year, decade after decade, and you put out this poison, leaders in our community put out this poison, there are people who are going to swallow it. And you shouldn't be surprised at how it helps to deteriorate marriage in various communities, including my community. You shouldn't be surprised at the deterioration of marriage and family and fatherhood, respect for fatherhood in our community. But here's what I'm going to say. You Black people, you Christian people, if you want to make a change in our community, and you in other communities who call yourselves Christians, and you don't vote these people out of office so they can stop making legislation and stop putting in infrastructure to support these vile philosophies, we are the blame as well. Let's vote these people out of office and let's speak out against them. It is the Christian thing to do. You can look Old Testament, New Testament. You can look and see that there were those who spoke up even against the leaders of their nation who were wicked and who did wicked things. There's no excuse. It's cowardly to say, well, I'm a Christian and I'm just going to pray and get on my knees or sit on my rump and just pray. Praying is good. But if you read the Holy Bible, they didn't just pray, but they were vocal, even to the point of speaking out against rulers of the land who were wicked and who promoted wicked practices. All right, next video.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No,
Yeah,
I can't.
you can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So you
I'm not a
believe the meaning
biologist.
of
Okay, so this is a Supreme Court justice. She was going through Senate hearings here for the job. And this is what ended up on the Supreme Court as a justice. She can't give us a definition of a woman. This is I think she knows what a woman is. It's just she's too scared of the woke, feminist, ultra liberal, whatever, these anti-reasonable, anti-biblical, anti-Christian folk that have such a hold on the liberal power structure in American politics that you got people highly educated that ought to have common sense. They're so scared they can't even say what a woman is, what a man is. This is disgusting. Okay, this next clip is not just Black folks with this whacked ultra feminist rhetoric, but this woman, I believe, is a governor of Michigan. And notice what I said before, whether or not she mentions fathers at all in her discussion about abortion. I mean, these women they're so for the right to kill the unborn. You've got some now that believe all the way up until, the 9th month that you should kill the unborn. It is really insidious, these people and their rhetoric. But watch what she says. Let's see if she mentions fathers at all.
Now let's go back to abortion rights. First of all, this isn't about me. This is about all the women and girls in our state. This is about the ability to have bodily autonomy, be treated as a full American citizen. Mrs. Dixon will tell you.
All right, there we go. No mention of fathers. Sad, pathetic, disgusting. Oh, well, and these folks never answer the question, at least in the cases I see, whether or not the unborn baby, whether or not they believe that that unborn baby is a human. These people they don't care anything about American families. They won't address the ultimate question. It's almost like anytime a group wants to devalue another group, they don't answer. This is throughout history. You can look at this over and over again. One group that does not want to value another group of humans, oftentimes, very often, it's a pattern. They don't want to acknowledge the other group as being human, fully human. In this case, whether we're talking about unborn baby being fully a human, or you can, early in American history, many that did not want to acknowledge my foreparents, who were slaves, and many were not slaves, but maybe oppressed. They did not want to recognize their full humanity, being fully, equally humans as much as their oppressors. They don't want to acknowledge that. But she's dressed up in a nice suit with a hairdo, intelligent, powerful governor, but it's the same old, same old. What I want to point out is the fact that abortion is one of the number one killers in the Black community. And it reminds me of the diabolical plan in the Bible where Pharaoh wanted to destroy the people of Israel, the children of Israel, God's chosen. And the way he was doing it, or wanted to do it, was to have the medical professionals, the midwives, the OBGYNs, nurses, nurse practitioners, whatever you want to call it, of that day, he wanted to have them kill the male children. Well, in abortion today, it's killing children across the land, and in particular, those who live in low-income and minority communities. It's killing Black children, male and female, at an alarming percentage rate. It's worse than an epidemic. It's worse than some pandemics. It is wholesale slaughter of our children. But let me just play you this clip, and you can see this is just not just what I'm just pontificating and saying.
In New York, sadly, there are more Black children that die yearly than are even born. Abortion is the #1 cause of death in the Black community. And since 1973, over 16 million Black babies have been aborted. And I was scheduled to be one of those children. In 1981, in Hartford, Connecticut, my mother had an appointment to abort me. She was wearing a white robe. She paid for the abortion. The counselor didn't give her any counsel, only telling her, this seems like the best decision for you to make. But in that 11th hour, God heard her silent cry, and he sent a janitor. He sent an African-American woman to approach her and to look her in the eye as she was crying in the hallway and say, "Do you want to have this baby?" And guess what my mother said? She said yes.
Imagine this young woman, Christina Bennett. Her life was almost snuffed out. But thank God that janitor, that black woman who interceded at a critical moment and caused instrumentally Christina Bennett's mother not to kill her in the abortion room. It's time for us to vote these politicians. It's time for us to stop putting judges on the bench. It's time for us to stop voting in these school board members with these diabolical, anti-Christian, biblical family, normal marriage. It's time for us to vote them out of office and stop putting them in office. Pray, but stop shooting our own selves in the foot by supporting these people and have more allegiance to our God-given communities than to these politicians and judges and educators who have for decades promoted policies that are perverse. Let's say yes to God's design for marriage. Let's say yes to the lives of our sons and daughters. Let's say yes to the family, which starts with a mother and a father. That is God's ideal plan, is that mother and father, husband and wife, both be involved in the raising of children in a loving relationship. That is God's ideal. Yes, there's some, for whatever reason, whether, one parent may not be there, whether it's through death and whatever circumstance, but these redefinitions of culture where a woman can be a man and a man can be a woman and forcing girls to undress in front of men. Let's stand in the gap, pray, but also use our voices, use our votes with everything that God allows us to fight against the tide of darkness, because it will destroy godly love and relationships and marriage and family in this country and in any country that turns its back on God's design. Let's say yes to life. Let's say yes to God's design for life.